the number of venous stent placement in the deep venous disease iliofemoral segments is increasing mainly because of an improvement in availability of core lab adjudicated prospective multicenter studies, as well as better recognition of the role of deep venous obstructive disease in patients with both chronic venous insufficiency, superficial venous disease, and patients with deep vein thrombosis. Now, stenting in the deep vein thrombosis patients after thrombectomy, has been around for a long time and has been part of the treatment. But the commonality of the occurrence of outflow obstruction and chronic venous insufficiency is now much better recognized, and therefore more and more people are screening their patients with chronic venous insufficiency for obstructive lesions, and those are being stented, and that has led to an increase in the number of stent placement in patients with deep venous disease. So what makes the duovenous stent system different has to do with the mechanical properties of the stent along its length. It has long been known that the requirements for performance of the stents in different segments of the iliofemoral veins are different. You need crush resistance in certain areas, flexibility and radial force in other areas. The duo hybrid stent is designed to give you crush resistance where you need it, and flexibility, radial force in other areas, other segments when you need it. What it does, because of its mechanical property, it is intended to eliminate a very common practice currently that we use, all of us, and that is we mix and match stents. Put one type of a stent in one area and a different kind of a stent in a different area. So with the availability of the duo hybrid and the modular segments, the portfolio being the duo extend, we can just use hopefully just one stent or one type of a stent to treat the entire iliofemoral segment as needed because of its, again, mechanical properties. So the VIVID trial has just started. The excitement is high, and we anticipate that the study will enroll quickly. The safety endpoint of the study is very similar to others, and that is freedom from major adverse events at 30 days. We will be capturing all safety events for the 12 months. The primary efficacy endpoint of the study is patency at 1 year, which is, again, very similar to the other studies. What is unique about this study is that there is a pre-specified requirement for enrollment of 3 deep venous disease categories. That is the patients that are NEVIL, which is non-thrombotic iliac vein obstructions or occlusions or lesions. Number 2, the acute thrombotic patients, and number 3, chronic post-thrombotic lesions. Now, we know the outcomes in those 3 different categories are different with stenting, and so is the natural history of the patient. This is the first study that requires capturing of the outcomes prospectively in all those 3 categories. In other previous studies, the acute thrombotics were either excluded or reported with the post-thrombotic disease patients, which is not accurate. In this study, those 3 categories will be enrolled separately, and there's a requirement for at least 20% in each of those. So we will have an opportunity in a prospective core lab adjudicated study to look at the outcomes of venous stenting in those 3 different disease categories. The other, obviously, advantage of this study is some of the sites sort of ask us, now in the United States and Europe, this is, by the way, a global study. There is availability of other venous stents, but there is an incentive to enroll in this study because of the reason I mentioned previously, that the mechanical properties of the stent is such that we could use a single stent to address all the requirements along the iliofemoral venous segments in just one stent. And so we're looking forward to that.